You're listening to a podcast by Oak Magazine. I would like to acknowledge the Yorta Yorta people as the traditional owners of the land on which this episode was recorded. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. Many successful businesses start life from the kitchen table, and Sarah Armstrong's story is no different. Sparked from a conversation overheard at her parents' kitchen table after a night of rain, Sarah developed the SparkDrop app, a digital platform to store rainfall data and share it with the community. The land has been Sarah's whole upbringing. Sarah's father, his father Sparky, and his father before him have been thriving and surviving in farming for over 100 years in Australia. It's Sarah's grandfather, Don Sparky Armstrong, who is the inspiration behind the app's name. The app is a way to continue her family's legacy and share her love for the land. In this candid and unedited conversation, Sarah shares with us the beginning of her app, the cost of developing one, how she handled an email glitch during launch week, marketing tactics, and the special bond she has with her dad and grandfather. Hello, Sarah, and welcome to the podcast van.
Thank you so much. It's such a quirky little van. I love it.
I know, we just need some artwork on the walls, a coffee machine.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
So we are here today at the Riverine Plains Innovation Expo Field Days, because that's such a mouthful.
I was just thinking that, and then you said mouthful. I was like, yep, correct. You've nailed it.
I'm so good that I've nailed it, though. I've got it down pat now. Now, I actually had someone come up to the podcast van and talk about you and how I needed to know about Sarah from SparkDrop and that you're creating this amazing app. So then when I got to know you and I dug into your little, did a bit of stalky, I'm like, oh my gosh, like we've got podcast, a print article, yeah, there's so much to what you do and it's so incredible.
Thank you so much.
So you have people cheerleading you out here. Actually, it wasn't just that person. We had 2 guests in here and they spoke about you as well.
Really? That's so cool. That actually makes me so happy.
Oh, good. Well, let's get started. Like all things, all good things, lots of things start at the kitchen table. Yeah. Your business started at the kitchen table too.
It did. So I we'll give you the full story. So I had broken up from my ex with my 2 kids, Max, who is 6, and Lucy, who is 3, and moved back home to my parents' farm. And one morning, as I'm at the kitchen table with my family, my dad was bunging right on about the rain and how much everyone had gotten. And I'm looking at my smartphone going, why isn't there just an app where you can record your rainfall and everyone else on the app can see each other's rainfall? Super simple, but that is SparkDrop. Yeah, and then I sat on that idea for about 6 months because initially what happened was I said to Dad, this would be a really cool idea for an app. And he was like, I don't know how to drive them things. Yeah, so it's literally all he does. He's like getting around to it, I don't know how to drive it. I don't know how to drive that. That's like his little saying. And then I went, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know how to make an app. I wouldn't have a clue the first place to start to make an app. So I sat on the idea, and then it wasn't until a friend recommended a book to me called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert, I'm not going to get his last name, Kiyosaki, or maybe I'm just making that up. Anyways, he basically was talking about businesses and assets and liabilities and when I'd split with my ex, we had 2 houses, so we sold the houses, and the money that I got from that, everyone was like, are you going to buy a house? Are you going to buy another house? And I said, well, no, I can't afford to buy a house. So I thought I would create an asset, I had a good idea, and then hopefully down the track, I'll be able to buy that house with my asset, which is SparkDrop.
Oh my God, I didn't know any of this.
I know, I was like,
Jeez.
I'm just going to
boom.
Yeah, boom. Pretty much boom emoji.
Far out.
Brain explosion.
Absolutely. And for those listening, that these podcast van interviews today are supposed to be really short and sharp, so 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just knew that you'd have a good long one. I'm like, oh my God, I hope we haven't wasted, this.
Not at all.
We're going to pull this out into a story one day, so everyone stay tuned. So I suppose the next step is, how did you actually come about building the app? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, cool. So I went, you know what? Yep, let's do it. And I emailed the smartest guy that I knew who I'd worked for 10 years prior, who owns a local computer store in Griffith. And he said, no, I can't do that, but these guys can. So I walked in and said, this is my idea. And we basically went from there. So she gave me a quote and I went, yep, let's do it. Everyone thought I was mad. My mum and dad were freaking out. One of my best mates who gave me the book, who is my sort of silent partner, he was freaking out. He was so, because this is a lot of money, right? So
yes.
I don't know if should I say how much.
Well, I don't know. I didn't want to ask because I don't want to feel like too inquisitive.
No, I'm so happy to share. So for anyone out there, I suppose, that's sort of thinking about making an app even, that wants to dive into it. So my app is a community base. So that means it's sort of like social media. It's you engage with other people. To do that component, it was $13,000 per version. So you've got Apple and then you've got Google, so $26,000. And then, but if you were to do like a simpler concept where you would just record your rainfall and not have that community aspect, it was $5,000. But for me, the community base is what makes it. Yeah, absolutely. And then you add on the marketing side and a little other bit that I wanted. So app side was about bit over 30,000, and then you've got your graphic. So we had to start from scratch. So I walked in with an idea. I had nothing. I had what was in my brain and how I wanted it to look and feel, but that was it. And yeah, so you're 30 plus. And you can use your imagination on the graphic design stuff, how much that costs.
I know. Tell me about it.
So that's where, basically just, went from there. And
And how long did it take to build out from that concept to actually launching it live?
Yeah, so August, September-ish, I think it was last year. And then we went live with the Apple version mid-May. And we were actually at the Riverina Field Days in Griffith. So a lot of this I've been doing with my dad because my dad's cool. I don't know. I love hanging out with my dad. I go home, don't get me wrong, I love my mum too, but Dad and I have always just hung out together. Like my daughter as well, he's sort of taking on that role as well. So my son's like, yeah, cool, but my daughter's very much a farm, loves riding on the motorbikes. And that's the thing, we go home and I'm like, all right, Dad, what are you doing? I'd be happy to just go hang out with Dad for the day and go and have a look at the countryside and do all that kind of thing. So I think a lot of how I speak and how I look at the world has come from my dad. And my app is also I haven't cried about this for a while, but I don't know, it's giving me the feels today. So my grandfather passed away 16 years ago. So Spark Drop, the name Spark, is actually in dedication to him because his nickname while I was in Cootamundra, which is where he grew up, was Sparky. So it's been really cool because I get to talk about him now a lot because he is like the app. He's the name behind it, and he is the farming background. If we didn't have him or his family, it just wouldn't be Spark Drop, I suppose.
I'm not sure how much we can talk about grandfathers because mine's a bit close to me as well, and yeah, he's passed on now as well, and I'm not sure I could actually talk without getting emotional. Grandparents play such an important role in some of our lives. Like for me, it's the reason I love rural and regional so much. Like it's them that have paved the way for me. And, my sister is more so in the ag tech industry. And again, it's our experience, out on their farm and, Pa letting us ride motorbikes and letting us do everything without me ever wondering, but I'm not a boy.
Yes,
absolutely. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. So I was that Tom girl. I used to go out on the farm and be with Dad, and like my first vision of my dad or being on the farm is in his old Land Cruiser ute, like driving around. You drive when you're 3-4 years old.
Yes.
As soon as you can reach the steering and sit on this, you steer.
Yep.
And then
sit on their lap and steer.
Steer. And then so my dad had an excavator and a truck, so he used to need the ute taken to separate places. And so as soon as he'd put it in gear for me.
Yep.
And then I would just go in first gear. I clearly remember this one day on our property. I'm going, shit. Oh my God, am I doing this? Oh my God. I was probably 5 or 6 at the time. But it was funny. I said to a friend who's a patrol sergeant, I said, do we get a gold class license for growing up on a farm and driving? Because we're probably really good drivers because we've been driving since such a young age.
My reverse parking and with a trailer.
Nail it.
Yep, nail it.
Oh.
My husband, he'll just do blockies till he can drive into one.
Don't you love, like, when you're at somewhere local and you've got a reverse park right in front of the busiest cafe in the street and you just absolutely nail that reverse park?
Exactly.
And you just, like, get out, you're like, yes, look at me.
Although I must admit, the van's a little bit harder. There's no windows on the side, so it's, not as easy.
It's tricky. You have to work on your skills a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I think the thing going back to grandfathers is so he passed away when I was 16. So now coming into business and doing all these things, I can't ask him to see what he had done. Like, I think that's one of the hardest things is that, and also when they pass away, everything's gone. Like, you can't ask them for advice. You can't ring them up and say, oh, I've just got this, this is happening. So I'm very grateful that I've still got my dad who has a majority of that information in his brain. That I can pick. I keep telling him we need these ideas and he's like, oh, can you stop with your Chris? I'm like, sorry, they're just flowing. But yeah.
Change of pace
from
that. Sorry. It's going to be a little whiplash from that to what we're going to talk about now. In terms of launching the app, how did that go? Were you ready for that? Did you launch before you were ready?
Did I launch before I was ready? I haven't thought about that for a little while. No. I was, so where we'd go August last year, and then we launched in May. So we had to launch, there was glitches. So Thursday, what did it come out? Thursday, Friday. And then the Sunday, anyone who was on there got 400 emails in their inbox. Not everyone, but a few people were like, every minute, ding, 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 ding. I was like, I'm so sorry. So I sent them like all a little care package to say, sorry about that, my bad. But it's just the nature of the beast, I think, with these things. And I've never developed an app before, so I had no idea what to expect. But the app team were amazing. They, I emailed them any time of the day or night, and it was usually fixed like very, very quickly. We had signage. And a lot of my app has been like marketing wise, just talking to people. I think a lot of word of mouth and a lot of talking to people and a lot of people getting on board and seeing the value in it too. So I think that's been really cool. Like, one of my things at the moment is going into service stations, like getting fuel, and saying to the guy, guy or girl, lady, at the counter, oh, I've just released this app. This is what it does. If you ever get anyone in here talking about the weather or rainfall, you need something to talk about. Are you able to talk about it? They're like, yeah, no worries.
Oh, my God.
So it's sort of like,
yes,
that's such an easy way.
It is. It's like guerrilla marketing.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what guerrilla marketing is,
I don't know, but I think
it. I'm nailing it.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into every server and say, hey, anyone ask for a magazine about women?
100%, and they have to. And what they love? I think they appreciate too someone being nice. Like, someone's nice.
Yeah. It's so transactional for them. Yeah, so
Yeah.
probably to have a conversation.
Something that's like sparking up conversations. That's what I say. But like, having a conversation and like something different too, not the generic, hi, how are you? How's your day? It's like,
have you got a rewards card?
Yeah, I've got a rewards card. Yes, I do. It's on my phone. Thanks.
Yeah. Do you want a chocolate bar? They're 2 for $5.
Okay, so I'll tell you a story. I went into like, my local, and they like, oh, you got these? And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give them a go. They were like these honey, soy, salted nut things. Anyways, I went back the next week and I was like, yep, I'll take all the remaining packets you have on half price because they're amazing.
Wow.
So, yeah, okay, they got me there, but...
Good marketing tactic.
Good marketing tactic, yeah.
Tell me about your market, your demographic. What type of people are downloading your app?
Generally, people on the land, farmers, but we also, and all my friends, shout out to all those guys that got on board straight away, rain enthusiasts, I think, and there's a lot of people that have moved, rain enthusiasts, that's what I call them, right? Because I don't want to cut them off as farmers, because if you're not a farmer and you download the app, it's like, well, where do I stand? You're a rain enthusiast.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
And then, so then a lot, even we've had people from Sydney, I think, that have got rain gauges that are sort of up there. I did have a fellow download the app in Sydney, and it was when they just had all that rain last month. So his rainfall count was like, oh, my God. But it put it into my face because I don't watch too much mainstream media. And then it was like, well, that's just straight in my face now. Like, it's such good information for me to see and from your backyard. But yeah, so just like all types of people, and people I think that have moved from the land but are still interested. I've actually had, and I don't know how or why or what, there's been about 7 people from the US.
Okay.
Yeah, that have downloaded the app. I don't.
Well, it does rain everywhere, Sarah.
It does rain everywhere. That's right. And like I said, they could be even interested in what we've got to offer over here, because there's a lot of big companies that are looking at Australia as well. So
what the weather does.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't want to talk too much, actually, because I'm like, nah, we've got to hold this. This is just gold for a longer, bigger podcast where I can set myself up with questions and what have you. So what I would ask, like even to sort of wrap us up, and sorry to everyone that's like, oh, this is really good.
Edge of their
I know,
seat.
because even I'm like, I've got all these questions that I want to ask. One thing that I would love to know is that you are a female in ag tech. How does that feel? Like, is that a title that sits well with you now?
It's kind of empowering. So I feel that, but even today, have you noticed there's a lot of women around?
There is.
It's very cool, and everyone's excited. And
Yep.
everyone, like I met a lady before, Gabby. She's like, I love it here. She's real into data, and I was like, great, I need to email you. But she was just saying how, she loves ag and she loves tech, and it's just combined into one. And so she's having a great day today. She's based in Melbourne, I think. But yeah, people have come from Melbourne and a lot of those sort of city places and gone, yeah, this is really cool, and like relocating. But it's empowering because I think there's a movement. Have you seen the guys that have, I keep saying that and I need to stop because I've been told you can't say hey guys because it's not right, but it's inbuilt in me. Oh, fun. Hey, y'all.
Hey, people.
Hey, people.
I know where you're coming from.
Hey, party people, what's up?
My daughter's just started playing AFL, mixed team, under 12s. But yeah, the coach keeps saying, hey, boys, find a man up, come in, guys.
It's
and I'm
that
just
language
like,
that's
come on,
inbuilt.
just players and numbers.
Yeah,
like,
true.
That's
so true. I got pulled up at a local, so this is a cool story too. My ex-boyfriend, we dated when we were like 19, 20. He now runs a cafe in Griffith, or it's not a cafe, it's nicer than that. But he's done well for himself, him and his family. I used to work for his family when we dated, so it was 10 or so years ago. But I actually now work there and plug Spark Drop. So I'll wear my Spark Drop shirt, and if I think anyone's a rain enthusiast / farmer, they're like, oh, do you have a rain gauge at home? They're like, yeah. Oh, well, I've got this new app. But yeah, circling back, it's, the team that have bought the Riverine Fields, majority women, I think, in that office, majority women. And it's really cool to see smart women in ag, and also we're so much prettier.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing.
It is. But yeah, we bring the style up a little bit too.
We do bring the style. Some a little bit different, you know.
Oh, and I think that's all you need. Like, this is the whole point of Oak. You can't be what you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we see other women leading from the front and doing amazing stuff and speaking their mind and still being adored and loved by everyone, it gives us permission to do that as well.
And it also, for our future, so like my daughter, it just goes, oh, cool, look what mum's doing. She can do that. I can do that. Yep. Like, there's nothing stopping me. My son's actually also a marketing guru. Pens. We're at the field days, and he just walks up to people and gives them Spark Drop pens.
Oh, gosh.
Dude, you're nailing it. He keeps asking me when he can start work. Yeah, I'm like, you're 6, but we're on to it. Well done.
Mine don't listen to the podcast, but if my 4 are listening to the podcast, do more.
Get some initiative up your clothes.
Yeah, please. Come to the field days with me next time and hand out stuff.
Yes.
Instead of spending my money on all the stalls and eating all the food.
Every pen is worth 10 cents the more you give away.
Oh,
Then I'll just throw them in the bin, smarty panties.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to actually wrap us up because I think we've got a bigger, longer, better podcast in us.
I've got
And I think this is so, I feel it. I'm feeling it. And even this is good. And then I'm thinking panel. Like, so where are you from? Where are you based?
I'm based in Griffith.
Yeah. Oh, you guys have got a pretty strong women in business.
We have a huge women in business
network up there.
Network, yeah, we really do. One of my best mates has just opened up her own, so she's been a jewelry designer. She hasn't been, she is a jewelry designer, and had her own little studio, but then has just renovated a building in like our second, like huge deal for her. Like, this is amazing. So it's called Am I allowed to say? Yeah, I'm allowed to say it. Well, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, what am I allowed to say here? Room's a requirement, and she's actually she loves Harry Potter, so that's where that's sort of come from. Where like you can go in and rent a room for a day, a week, a month, and then she's got her little studio there too. But not even that. It's just the building that she's done is amazing. Like the feel of it and the look and what she's created. So proud. And I'm always there because I'm like, hey, what are you doing?
So I need to bring the van and come up and do
because she's actually got a space at the back too, so you could even
Brilliant.
do a cool little
thing. An event. We need to do more of this.
Yes, an event. Well, someone asked me like, what's next to Sparky? Conferences.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh God, I've just come off a week-long conference, or it was 3 days, but it was intense, and I'm not conference fit. I've decided. It was the Agri Futures conference, so it's for the Rural Women's Award as well as the Horizon Scholars. So they bring us all together for 3 full-on days, where every minute of your day is accounted for.
Please tell me it was somewhere warm.
It was in Aubrey, so no.
Great, no. All right. Okay.
I've won in the wrong year, I think.
Oh,
I'm
you
sure
won!
Well, I'm the Vic winner, yes.
Oh, amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
That is really cool. Can you request like cans next year maybe?
I know. Well, I don't know unless I go as an alumni to chat, but that's where Maz was. So she was there chatting to us, and it's always good to
that is really cool.
Have her speak. But yeah, I think we need to catch up anyway because there's just so many stories and I can't wait. But thank you for sharing that little bit of an insight into how you've launched and all those great little stories. And as I said, there are people speaking your name out there. And I think that's what more of us need to do is just to cheerlead other women. It's amazing what connections and community we're building by doing that.
Exactly. And believe in everyone and go, you can do it.
Yeah, you got this.
Support network. You got this, girl. Let's do it. Everyone might be freaking out, but you got it.
Yeah. I must admit, I heard Cara Peake speak last week. She was the winner, the national winner of the Agri Futures Rural Women's Award. Okay. And someone had asked her about the lead up to the awards, and she said, well, I just went in thinking I'd won until someone told me I didn't, and no one told me I didn't. I'm like, snap that. Like, just such confidence. Yeah, mentality.
Positive mentality will get you, and that's the whole thing. Like, this has been not easy. Like, it's, financially challenging, and it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? But as long as you've got a positive mindset and a positive attitude to life and just take a breath every now and then, we do got this.
And as long as you enjoy it. I was just saying, I love what I do.
That's right.
Yeah.
I get to talk about something that's so cool and that I've made.
Yeah.
With my dad.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't drag him along because I'm like, I want you here. It's so much fun.
Oh, my gosh.
But thank you so much for chatting to me, and I cannot wait to talk.
Some
more.
Great.
Yes.
I can't either. And you know what? I'm not editing any of this. I think it's too conversational. It's too funny. I think the audience need to hear some of these ones where we haven't cut everything out.
Except for those birds.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is what nature's about. This is field days.
Birds? Like they sound. Cockatoos. Yes, they are too.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
And we'll chat soon.
Amazing.
Now, before you take off with all that inspiration and knowledge, why not leave a review on our podcast or share something nice on social media? It's a small way you can support a network of bush-based businesses. If you have any questions, suggestions, or would like us to visit your town, you can always connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Oak Magazine AU. You can listen to a Friend of Mine podcast for more conversations with inspiring and incredible women in business from regional and rural Australia.